SAfm, South Africa's news and information leader.
Thank you, Bongi. Grade 9 maths learners in Limpopo perform the worst in the country, and Pope Benedict opens a Twitter account. Good morning, I'm Asanda Matsaunyane with the news at 12 here on SAfm. Grade 9 maths learners in Limpopo performed the worst around the country. Only 0.5% of these learners achieved over 50%. These learners have raised the alarm about maths education, with only 2% of learners countrywide achieving above 50%. Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga released the announcement of the annual National Assessments results in Johannesburg today. Senior education reporter Angela Bulwana filed this report.
Limpopo learners had it tough this year, but grade 9 learners cannot blame their bad performance on the lack of textbooks because they were not affected. In fact, Basic Education Director General Bobisu Bryan is insisting that Limpopo Foundation phase learners were not substantially affected by the lack of textbooks. In fact, these learners did better than their counterparts in other areas. Maths, however, seems to be a big problem, with the best performing province, Western Cape, achieving a paltry 5% in terms of the grade 9 maths learners who achieved above 50%. Angela Bolane, SABC News, Tembisa.
AMCU President Joseph Mathunjwa has denied that he told mine company Lonmin on August 16, the day of the strikers' confrontation with the police, that his union would act as a collective bargaining agent. Lonmin legal representative Advocate Skalkberger has put it to Mathunjwa that he tried to convince the mining company that he would act as a mediator to convey the protesters' demands to the employer. Berger has told Mathunjwa that one of the Lonmin bosses, Joe Cuddy, told him that they would not be willing to engage the workers outside the standard forums. This is how Mathunjwa responded.
That is wrong. I was simply telling Kwadi in terms of management commitment. Remember, your client has reneged from its commitment.
Parliament's Joint Committee on Ethics and Members' Interests says it will also conduct its own investigation into whether Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries Minister Tina Joemat-Patterson has bridged the Parliamentary Code of Ethics. Public Protector Thuli Madonsela found that Joemat-Patterson broke the Executive Ethics Code for ministers in terms of the Executive Ethics Act. The Public Protector found that she had flown herself and her children back to South Africa from Sweden at an expense of more than 150,000 rands after she was allegedly recalled by the presidency. Mercedes Besant reports.
While President Jacob Zuma is looking into the report on Joemat-Patterson as cabinet minister, the chairperson of Parliament's Ethics Committee, Ben Turok, says the committee will investigate her as an MP based on the report.
We will get the report of the Public Protector and we will examine it and compare it with the declaration that she made to us.
To reach a deal on wage demands from farm workers in the Western Cape. Another strike is imminent by farm workers tomorrow if a deal is not reached today. COSATU's secretary in the Western Cape, Tony Ehrenreich.
We are on the verge of an agreement in the Western Cape, but this agreement excludes Agri-South Africa, who's been opposed to a deal. But in discussions with many of the farming associations representing about 80% of produce in the Western Cape, unfortunately, Agri-South Africa's national leadership came down to the Western Cape yesterday and are trying to block the deal.
Meanwhile, Agri-SA has described COSATU's accusations as arrogant, saying the Federation was not part of the negotiations in the past. Senior Manager of Labour Relations at Agri-SA, Elise van der Westhuizen, says only the Minister of Labour can increase a minimum wage by law.
Any agreements reached by COSATU and farmers are on actual wages, not minimums. Agri-SA was part of negotiations to try and reach an agreement on a way to solve the problems. Negotiations must take place on farm level between workers and farmers. If that's the case, that is wonderful because it is on actual wages, not minimum wages.
Overseas, Pope Benedict is opening a Twitter account in an effort to spread the message of the Roman Catholic Church. The Vatican already has several social media platforms and recently set up a global portal linking Roman Catholic sites around the world.